Ezekiel's only 5 years old, and he sees me at home all the time, and he doesn't understand that I have to work and that I have responsibilities and things that I have to do. Well, recently he said to me, he said, Daddy, will you play with me this morning? And I replied, I'm sorry, I can't. I just have way too much to do. Well, he didn't say anything. He didn't plead or keep asking. He just went over to the couch and laid down and put his Spiderman blanket over his head. Well, as I started into my office, I hesitated for some reason, and I went back, bent down beside him, and I lifted up the blanket that he had over himself, and my boy was lying there, silent, with tears streaming down his face, down his cheeks. And I said to him, I just realized that the work I have to do can wait. What do you want to do? There's something about tears that can speak volumes more than words could ever say. There's an honesty in tears that can't be easily faked or manipulated. I believe tears are a reflection, an outpouring of the Spirit within us that's trying to communicate what would be impossible with words. I know that nothing moves the Father's heart like tears, and that's true for a daddy like me, and it's also true for our Heavenly Father. I'm reminded of 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 5, when God said, "Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, and I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee, and the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord." Notice how God associates prayer with tears there. He says, I've heard thy tears. Have you ever heard the phrase, tears in a bottle? It comes from Psalm 56, verse 8, which says that you have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56, verse 8. David wrote that when he was a prisoner of war. He was being held captive by the Philistines. And he was going through a hard time. He actually begins that psalm with the words, "Be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples on me, and all day long an attacker oppresses me." That's verse 1. I'm sure there have been times in your life that you can relate to that, I'm sure. I know I can. The idea that God puts our tears in a bottle to remember our suffering, I think that's just beautiful. It reminds us that God cares deeply about us. It reminds us that God is a tender-hearted Father, that He feels our pain, that He weeps with us. Look at Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 7, or John chapter 11, starting in verse 33. The truth is, God cares deeply about even the smallest details of your life. He knows your pain. He knows it even more intimately than you do, than you could ever imagine. He walked this earth as a man, and He experienced all of the same trials, the same temptations and pain and suffering that you have. And make no mistake about it, God will remember your suffering, and He has promised to make it right in the end. He's promised to wipe away every tear and make all things new again. But until then, know that you are precious to God, and when your heart is breaking and you no longer have the words, and all you can do is weep, know this: your Father in heaven, He hears every tear, and is collecting them like precious diamonds falling to the floor. May the grace of Jesus be with you. Amen.